Okay, I'm polishing the frets up, and forgot to throw this in there. I don't think that you're going to be able to see the difference, especially this camera. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. I've done these first 4 frets already, and there's just a major difference between the shine and the smoothness between the frets. And again, just using a basic Dremel tool. I've got the cable extender that goes with this. However, I can't find the right chuck to put it in. Just in case you're curious, what do I use to polish the frets to get that shininess, to get that smoothness, and get those little swirls out from where they've been sanded on and ground on and everything else? Oh, this is it. Here's the secret. Turtle wax. It's good enough for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. It's good enough for my frets. I start off with the rubbing compound. It's more of a coarse thread, or I'm sorry, more of a coarse compound. So that'll cut into it a little bit to remove some of the deep swirls and things of that nature. Again, from the sanding and just the nature of the fret being built. And then when that's done, I go right back over it with the polishing compound. That'll put the really high swirl finish shine on it, much just like buffing a car. The one thing I will tell you though, if you're using the Dremel, you'll notice there's some dark stuff here. That's where I've got the polishing compound on the tape, so you definitely make sure you keep the tape on there. But also this Dremel, I mean, it spins pretty quick, even on the low setting, and if you stay in one spot, it will heat up, and that can become important because you don't want to heat the fret up and pop the glue and the fret pop up. You don't want to do anything that's going to discolor the wood down below this tape, things of that nature. So originally I wasn't going to videotape or give you any information on polishing, but that may be one of those things that you just didn't know or didn't think about. Because every time I watch somebody doing a video, I'm thinking, oh, that's a pretty good idea. I wish I'd have known that before I did something else. So yeah, again, like I say, it's just basic rubbing compound and polishing compound. So I'm going to get back at it, and next time you see me, hopefully I have all the frets done. We'll have all the tape pulled off of that. Alright? Alright, so I've got the neck done here. Got the frets all polished and shiny, and they are mirror shiny, I can assure you. You can literally see my ugly face and the reflection of these sons of bitches. So yeah, I mean, I did that. As I did earlier, the secret sauce to getting them shiny for me is a Dremel tool, rubbing compound, and polishing compound. Technically, you could get by with just rubbing compound and get a pretty good shine out of it, but the polishing compound on top of it just makes it even better. It's so much smoother, so much shinier. Took all the little swirls and the grind marks out of it from the sander where they did their thing at the factory. Got the ends smoothed out so there's no hard edges. There's nothing there to catch your fingers on and make it uncomfortable. The one thing I will tell you, that I made this error on this, and it's the first time I've done this, and it's probably because I was talking while I was filing these fret ends, was that tape that I put on here. Even though it does help protect, it's not impervious to a file, and there was a couple spots here on the treble side where I actually got the file to dig through the tape and mar the fretboard just a little bit. It's not going to affect the playability, and you know, once I take some ultra fine sandpaper to it, you'll never even know that it happened, but that is a possibility, so keep that in mind. You still can go through that tape and into the fretboard, which you don't want to do. So yeah, we're pretty happy with that. Just want to set the neck off to the side and bring out our pick guard. This is the Warmoth pick guard, direct from Warmoth. You know, if you're going to get a Floyd trim, they got a set up there where you tell them your pickup configuration, your trim configuration, the type of guitar. You can either choose 8 or 11 bolt or screw holes, which I went for the 11 with the Stevie Ray Vaughan style countersink. The pick guard comes as you see here. It's already got the shielding plate here, the mounting plate here, or the tape, I should say. It's going to be cut to size, things of that nature. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start mounting the hardware and soldering some things. With the solder, I may show a video or not. Soldering is not real fun to do. You know, the best thing I do, there's so many videos out there already with soldering. Wow, that was rude, a little bit of a burp. So many videos out there with soldering, soldering tips and tricks. I really don't think that I need to go over that again. If you're going with a single coil configuration, 3 single coils, or if you're doing like I did with humbucker and 2 singles, you'll want to do a couple of things. Obviously I try to get my pickups to match. It's not a necessity because everybody has their own difference in tones and preferences. I went with all Seymour Duncan because it's it's Seymour Duncan. What the hell else you got to say? One thing that you'll notice is with these 2 pickups, they're both single coils. They both have what's called flat pull pieces, means they're the same height all the way across, or relatively close. But these 2 pickups are different. If you look closely, you notice I'm holding them the same way, but the black and the white wires are reversed. It's because the middle pickup's going to have reverse polarity versus the neck pickup. You don't want to get that backwards. Make sure you get that improper, things of that nature. Of course, the humbucker is the humbucker. Is what it is. Nothing super duper special. That'll go there. Well, let's turn it the right way. We gotta have the logo the right way. So I want to mount this up. I want to get the hardware mounted. You will have to cut out again the shield tape there. You got the holes there, and again, that's where X-Acto knife comes in real handy. Just cut those out nice and clean, and everything is all pretty and happy. If you get Seymour Duncans, I imagine the other, I usually deal with Seymour Duncans, either that or EMG. Seymour Duncans, they got, obviously the wire. It's got the mounting ring. It's got the screws and the springs. It does not come with the 4 mounting screws for the bezel. And I say that's important because nothing sucks worse than getting through your project and realize that you don't have everything you need. And this would stop somebody should they need that bezel. Fortunately, I don't need it. Even more fortunately, I've got tons of screws, so it wouldn't have been a problem for me. The single coil pickups, they come with the mounting screws and the standoffs, the plastic standoffs. So we'll get these mounted to the pick guard, and then we'll move on to some shielding. I'll move on to some soldering, things of that nature. Again, the best advice I can give you is watch some of the videos that are already out there. There's no sense in me going over that. With that, just make sure you pre-tin everything. Make sure you've got a good soldering iron. My stuff's okay. It's not the best in the market, but it does me just fine. When it comes to soldering, things like potentiometers, you're going to solder some ground lugs to the back. Couple tricks for that, because you don't want to get the potentiometer too hot. You'll melt the insides or degrade the performance of the potentiometer. They actually sell mounting lugs that mount between the pick guard and the top here. It's like a little copper or brass mounting lug. You put it on there, it's got a little tab that you can bend up so it mounts between, so it touches the body of the potentiometer, therefore it's grounded. Keeps you from having to solder on the back of it. I'm not going that route. I'm just going to stay with the standard potentiometer. The key is you need to get the surface where you want to solder hot very quick, very fast, and you don't want it to go anywhere else. You just want to heat it up enough to where the solder will get absorbed into the pores of the metal and stay there so it doesn't fall off and break off, like a fried egg on some non-stick aluminum foil or something. So what I do is I take sandpaper, I'll take a file, and I will sand some of this off, because these actually have like a galvanization or something to help prevent corrosion. I will sand or file the spot off. Trim claws are something else that are bad about that, because they expand the heat so fast, it's hard to get to the solder, to get that spot hot enough for the solder to stay on there. Especially with this trim claw. I mean, it's chromed out. It's not super chrome, but it's got some chroming to it, or some high finishing. So what I'm going to do is I want to take a file, and I'll file off a spot there to knock some of that shininess, that slickness out of it. So that way the solder has a much better chance of sticking when I go to mount my ground wire to that. Couple other little tips. Whenever you order a Floyd rose, it will come with the string bar to mount behind the Floyd Rose locking nut for Strat head style necks, straight necks basically. I ordered an extra one. I didn't realize that this was going to come with it. Every guitar I've had's already had a Floyd on it, so I didn't think anything about it. But it does come with that. Again, with the Floyd, I've got the 37mm block from the factory, the 37mm brass, and the 42mm standard steel. And the reason why I've got the 42mm is I'm using a Strat body. It's non-recessed. Generally, you have to have a longer block on the back of it for the springs to reach properly from the trim claw to the back of the trim. However, this Strat is a drop top, so the top of it's been, kind of flattened out a little bit, so to say, or lowered a little bit. So I don't know if that's going to affect it or not. And again, I ordered too many parts in that aspect, knowingly, because I didn't want to be stopped for a trim block or something of that nature. So yeah, that'll all work out. Once I get this stuff mounted up, we're going to get into the copper shielding, and I'll explain more about why you do or don't want it, or is it even necessary. So let me get to work on this, and we'll see what kind of trouble we can get into. So we grab our handy dandy X-Acto knife. The key is getting it out of the box without cutting yourself. What I like to do is come on the back side and actually pierce it and follow it around with a little bit of a bevel, so that way I've got a nice clean hole that I can get my potentiometer through. And if you're like me and you've got kids, if you do any of this around your house, you're like me, I don't have a garage, and my basement is just so full of crap from my wife's collectiveness. I gotta rob the kitchen table or wherever I can do this work at. If you get these little pieces out of here, if you've got kids like me, make sure you pick them up. My 2-year-old loves to stick stuff in his mouth. I don't know about you guys, but I don't need children's services come to tell me how bad of a parent I am. I already know how bad of a parent I am. I don't need their help. Yep, see, there we go. Nice clean holes for the pot to come through. It's actually harder to get these little holes for the pick guard screws to come out. And generally what I'll do oftentimes is I will just come back here, fill out the holes, and I'll just take a section out for the pick guard screws. I mean, you can sit there and try to twirl it out or whatever if you want. That's fine. That's your business. I've got better things to do, like try out my new guitar. Now, if the hole's only partially covered, I'll just carve it out like that. Doesn't take that long. Same with this hole right here. Just partially carve that out. Cool thing about Warmoth is they give you a nice Warmoth bumper sticker if you want to put that on your vehicle, because you know I love bumper stickers. They also give you a little decal to put on the headstock should you want to flaunt Warmoth's name on your guitar. Okay, so as you can see, the holes are all the way through now. So that part is done. We're going to say our mounter pickups and things of that nature.